Welcome to D&D Arcade, where we discuss one-off adventures for the flakiest of parties. This is episode 4, D&D Build a Dungeon. This game mode is actually based off a video game I played called Guild of Dungeoneering. Now, I'm not sponsored by them, but I do think it's a fun and simple game I suggest you try. This game mode, like the game, puts the party in a fractured dungeon where the players themselves have some control over how the dungeon is built. The table will be faced with a boss and have to make certain decisions to eventually get powerful enough to defeat that boss and escape the dungeon. First off, setting up the dungeon. Start by picking your favorite high CR monster to be the boss. Then roll a d6 plus 5. This will decide how many rooms the dungeon will start with. The DM places those rooms wherever, then places the party in one room and the boss in the farthest room from them. Note that these rooms do not have to be touching to start. Next, roll a d4. This will decide how many monsters are in the dungeon in the beginning. Place them wherever, but they cannot share a space with each other, the party, nor the boss. Lastly, roll a d4 minus 1. This decides how many treasures are in the dungeon. Again, place these wherever, but they cannot share a space with each other nor the party. They can share a space with a monster and the boss. The game will then play out with the players moving to an adjacent room, fighting any monsters that are in there, and gaining any treasures if the battle is won. But before all that, the dungeon must expand. To start each turn, the party will be given 5 cards. 2 room cards, 2 monster cards, and 1 treasure card. Now they can only play 3 of these cards on each turn, meaning that 2 will always be discarded. The rest is all up to the party to build that dungeon. Players can place these cards basically anywhere, as long as there's not already that type of card there. So no double monsters, double treasures, or rooms on top of rooms. Each card has their own strategy and way to use them. Roll a d4 to decide which room cards they draw. These are simple. There are 4 different room cards, all with different paths. One card has a straight path, one has a right angle path, one has 3 paths, and the other goes in all directions. You can rotate the cards, but they have to connect to an already existing room or rooms. The next card type, the monster cards, is also straightforward. Make a list of monsters to fight, rolling a d6 to decide which monster or monsters the players will draw. Now, when you make this list, you don't want players to draw a Tarrasque at level 1. To avoid this, make 6 monsters or monster groups that are around the same level as the players. Remembering that it's okay for them to draw a hard fight, just not an impossible one. Then when players reach level 5, upgrade this list to a harder version. Upgrade this list again when they reach level 10 and 15. Speaking of leveling, you can level up very quickly in this game mode and however the DM pleases. You could simply use the XP system, it works really well here. Or you could have milestone levels where players level up after defeating a monster that is the same CR as their level. For example, if a level 3 party defeats a 3 CR monster, they gain a level. Now the treasure card is very sought out, but might not be the best card to place. Before players draw a treasure card, roll a d4. This will be the treasure, equaling 10 gold times the die roll. At the end of the party's turn, have them pick up any treasures that are in the room that they moved into. Each player gains that amount of gold. So if you rolled a 2, that treasure is worth 20 gold, and each player gains 20 gold. Before players end their turn by drawing new cards, allow for a shopping and resting phase. Shopping is simple, allow the players a moment to buy any item they may need, including magical items. You could also allow them to buy feats, although that shouldn't be cheap. Let's say like 300 gold each. After that, resting can be done based on the DM's preference, though I do suggest having a short rest be free. A long rest, on the other hand, should have a downside. Something like all monster cards, except for the boss, moves 1 room at random. If one moves into the space the players are resting in, they get ambushed. A fight begins, ruining their long rest, and the monsters get a free surprise round. This one is a doozy, and with a little bit of setup, but I promise it is a load of fun. Give it a try, and let me know how it goes.